Hello, we're filming somewhere different today, once again at my library. Amazing. There is some construction going on in the window outside, and also this is like pre-highway. I'm letting you know there will be noises. Bear with me through them, and I'll definitely try to like just repeat sentences if someone like honks or anything. This can be sort of a noisy pathway sometimes, but nonetheless, today's video is about my journey, which was eventful, lots of twists and turns, for Elle O Roark's The Parallel series. This is a series that's like technically interconnected, but really could be read as standalones. So the first two books are about a couple named Quinn and Nick. Third and fourth books are about Henry and Emil. So I'm gonna go over those kind of quickly, and we'll get into like the highs and the lows, and you can see if you would like to read it for yourself. I will have a spoiler part at the end, but I will mention it beforehand because I have a lot of things that I just need to rant about. And for the most part, I enjoyed it, but definitely threw me for a whirlwind. So I hope all of you are doing well. I'm just going on my Kindle because I need to read the synopsises again. It's been a while since I did that. So the first book of the series is called Parallel, and I'll put that in the screen. And by the way, Parallel was my favorite one. I'd been wanting a very like fresh book, and it was that. It's so exciting. It had such a strong start for me, and I would still recommend this book if you want something fresh and new. The synopsis for this says she met him in a dream, and now weeks before she marries someone else, he's appeared in real life. I've spent my entire life hiding what I can do, the things I know, until Nick Riley walks into my hospital room. Nick, the man I've been dreaming about for as long as I can remember. I know everything about him, as if we spent an entire lifetime together, and I know I've loved him in a way I've never loved anyone else, including my fiance. Even stranger, Nick's been dreaming about me too. Working with him to unravel the puzzle might save me, but the attraction between us could destroy us both, just like it did before. So, as stated here, there is something different about her, about Quinn, our main character, and Nick is this guy she's been dreaming about since she was 4. Like, the book is like instantly pulls you in. She's 4, she's crying to her parents about someone trying to keep her and Nick apart. And then something happens and she stops having these dreams about Nick until one day she's going out on like a venue for her wedding to Jeff, her fiance. She sees something in the distance and she like seems to know stuff about this place that she shouldn't know, what she's used to. She like talks about deja vu a lot, and she like passes out. And when she passes out, she's with Nick again, only this time it's like she hasn't dreamt it for years, but she remembers those times, but she's kind of put them in the past and shut the door. And she's like, this is crazy. And to the point where like they were making out in a dream and stuff, and like he gave her a hickey, and so she passes out, and her family like obviously is very worried about her. Her fiance's worried, so they take her to the doctor, and she has the hickey from when she was dreaming. So I was like instantly very intrigued, like from the beginning out the gate. This was so interesting. And what really resonated for me for Quinn was like how she feels like she needs to live her life. Like, this book, a lot of things come to light, and it makes her question why she's been so afraid and why she hasn't really taken life and like really enjoyed it and lived it for herself versus living it safe / for her family and Jeff. So this is a bit of a love triangle, but not one that really bothered me. A lot of you know, or if you don't, you should know, I do not like love triangles, but I feel like this one is an exception because this is definitely like a soulmate type of read. And when it comes to soulmates, it's not that there's a love triangle so much as like she just didn't know him yet. So like Jeff didn't stand a chance. I personally really didn't like Jeff. My mother can attest to that. I literally kept sending her so many texts of like, I don't like him, but he's just your regular nice guy. I say that like he did something really bad, but like the thing is like he's just not making her better, and I never really was on his side, so it wasn't in any way painful. Yeah, the book goes from there. We're going to follow Quinn and Nick, and they will start talking and trying to unravel this deep connection, which neither of them really believe in magic or anything, so it's like they're both just like, this is unbelievable, and he has dreams of her too. And then there's that danger of this person who is trying to keep them apart. She has more and more dreams that's sort of like unraveling this bit by bit, meanwhile fighting this attraction. She is very, in this book, like committed to staying with Jeff. Like, even when her friends are like, well, do you love him? She's like, I'm staying with him. And there are lots of reasons for that. And you find out what her gift is. And the first book was honestly very good. And it's not very long. It's 286 pages. So if you want like something that you can like storm through, I really enjoyed the first book. And I just thought it was like so good, honestly. So the second book, which is called Intersect. So it says, the synopsis for Intersect, the second book, which is still about Quinn and Nick, says someone has torn them apart in the past and she plans to do it again. In order to keep history from repeating, Quinn will need to master her unusual gifts, but that means admitting to herself and to Nick why she stopped using them in the first place. He may never forgive her when he learns the truth, but Quinn is running out of options because the clock is ticking and it's no longer just her life that hangs in the balance. So I will say, before you start this, like, she definitely ends off on cliffhangers, and it's a long, slow burn. But the way that she writes about love is so beautiful, and I feel like her characters are done well, and I think, I don't know, okay, so in fantasy, mates, instantly I'm in. I'm like, they're soulmates, they are destined for each other, because there's like a magical like interlocking that happens, and it's clear like, no, they're literally mates. So I never question it. But when it comes to humans in like regular life, like I know that this has a bit of sort of a magic in it, but it's not like magic, like fae or like, you know, real mate bonds. So I don't usually connect super deeply and believe like, oh, they're soulmates. Like when I look at real people, it's very rare that I'll go, they're soulmates. I'll go like, they're really in love, or I think they'll last forever. But I don't think of regular people as soulmates for book love. But Quinn and Nick are soulmates. And the way that she writes about love is like how you could, I don't know, she writes love really well. As someone who's never been in love before, I just feel it was satisfying to read that like he thought he'd been living this life, and obviously something felt like it was missing, and the same for her, but at the same time he thought he was happy enough. Like he described seeing her as like having been under fluorescent lights his whole life and then seeing the sun for the first time. Like you thought that there was brightness until you saw the sun. You know what I mean? Like I loved it. That being said, that's like my biggest plus of this, of how she writes love. It's a slow burn, lots of yearning because she has a secret. And then you meet this person who's literally been trying to keep them apart for different lifetimes. And yeah, it's cool. They don't really want to believe that it is what it is. A lot of ups and downs. She does have some twists and turns in this. So it kind of, I wouldn't say keeps you on your toes, but like it kept my attention. And then the second book ends, and that is the end of Quinn and Nick's story. The second one was very good for all the twists and turns, but I feel like it definitely does slow down quite a bit because she had pretty much the same dreams in book one, but this was elaborating on them, and we were almost more like, oh, like that's the finishing of the dream. Like we see where it's all connected, and that every time they're broken apart, it happens after this one thing happens. But I definitely enjoyed book one the most out of all of these. And book two, the ending broke my heart, but it was also so sweet. I enjoyed both Intersect and Parallel. They're both very good. Now the third book is definitely interconnected to this life and involves a character from the first two books. And that's where we meet Emile. Emile is from the year, I believe, she's like in 1980s, 19 something. Hold on, let me go to the next one, which is Across Time. Across Time, I will say, like, at first I was like, I'm done. I don't feel the need to like finish this series, which sounds mean, but I didn't mean it to be mean. I enjoyed what happened, and I was just like, I feel okay. Like, especially since the second of those two books, it's like I felt satisfied. I got my beginning, my middle, and my end, and I didn't feel like their story needed to be elaborated anymore, and I didn't feel like, you know, I felt good about where I'd ended, but not like super eager to jump back into this world. But I was sort of not bored. I like how she writes. It's very simple to ingest, and I like how she describes things. And so it was like they're quick reads. So I was like, I want to finish reading something. Like, I don't know if anyone else gets this, but sometimes you just want to finish reading something. And I knew that if I started the next book, I would finish it. So I was like, you know what, why not? So the next book follows Emile and Nick, and they are all interconnected between each other because of a prophecy that will come up in this book. And I don't know if telling you was like a spoiler, but basically all of the people who have this gift or power, whatever you want to call it, come from four main mothers, and like everyone is connected to one of these four main mothers, essentially. Between the third and the fourth book, I'm not sure that I loved I definitely didn't like the fourth book, but I don't want to talk you out of reading it. I just feel like it's worth it to go on your own journeys, and you might have different icks than me. And when I have icks for reads, it is near impossible to get me to read them because my icks are things that I'm like, I am not bending on this, even fictionally. So this had something in it that I didn't love. I got past it, but I literally texted my friend, and I might put it in here. I was like, I just don't know if I'm gonna get a happy ending. And I do have to say, for the third and fourth book, which are their own little section of the series, it's debatable whether it's a happily ever after. It's sort of like, yeah, that's all I'll say. It's debatable. The third book, Across Time, says, in a dangerous time before her own, a dangerous attraction, Emile Benson is on the cusp of attaining the life she's dreamed of until she finds herself stuck in pre-war France 50 years before her time. The country is about to be under German rule, but her most immediate problem is Henry Durand, the arrogant and infuriatingly handsome vineyard owner upon whom her survival depends. The fiercely protective Henry challenges everything Emile holds true, particularly her hatred of the gift that brought her there in the first place. As the bond between them grows, Emile will begin to wonder if the lifestyle she's returning to is actually the one she wants, and if her connection to Henry might be strong enough to surmount any obstacle, even time itself. So Emile goes to the past, and she ends up in this barn. She's going there to look for someone specifically, which has its own like things that are going to happen. This one's very similar to the first in the sense that like she again doesn't trust her powers. And even worse, her mother has made her think that she's like evil because of these powers. Her mother tells her she's like this evil bad thing, and she believes that due to things that have happened in the past, you're going to deal with someone again. Because like Quinn didn't like using her powers either, but it was more like she snuffed out her spark and then had to start really playing with it again. Whereas this girl is like fairly okay at doing it. Not actually, she's kind of bad at doing it, but she wants to stop because she wants to be normal. She really just wants her mother to love her and wants to be a regular person. So both books, a main character who wishes they weren't different, and they're both engaged to someone else before they meet their soulmate. So I don't even remember her soulmate's name. His name might be Fred. I don't remember his name. He was unimportant. So she goes to the past on a quest from someone, and she's meant to help Marie, Henry's sister. So she ends up in their barn, and she's also quite worried because she's like done some research before jumping this far back and knows that like bad things are about to happen. It's about to be World War II. Clara and Henry meet. She lands really badly. She's unhealthy, not well enough to jump forward, and she doesn't know why she's going back here. She just knows she was sent to help. Over time, it's very enemies to lovers for this one. They bicker a lot. I love Quinn and Nick's love a lot more. It makes more sense, especially considering what happened in the fourth book. Quinn and Nick definitely win the love game, but there are beautiful things in this, and I love the simplicity of that time and how like it was pre-war and they thought that was going to be a false war, and so it's not like you have this overhanging dark thing the whole time. Especially in the third book, she's just like she's intending to go back. She's intending for this to be her last time jumping, and then she'll go back and marry this guy and finally be someone her mother can be proud of and never jump again. And these two people are like, this is a gift. Like, why would you hate that? And also she ends up finding more things out about her gift and like a prophecy, and it's all interconnected between the first two books to where we are now. Obviously her and Henry fall in love. It's also a slow burn, but it's different. See, the other one, they really liked each other, but they were like, oh, we're both in relationships. And in this one, they really like each other, and they're, well, she's taken, but like, it's literally, he's not even born yet, technically. They really think that the other hates them. And Marie was like literally my favorite thing in the third book, which is crazy, considering how I don't like her at all now. But the third book is really good and ends on a huge cliffhanger, and I was so stressed. Honestly, it was crazy. Gets pulled into certain things because she literally can't jump, falls in love, a whole bunch of stuff happens. You're gonna read it yourself, right? Things happen, we end up at a completely different time, and the third is a huge cliffhanger. I honestly wasn't even planning on finishing the fourth one. I should have known the third and fourth would be connected. But the fourth book, which is Across Eternity, is the fourth and final book in the series, and by far the darkest book. See, the other books had like these almost cat and mouse situations with time, and like sort of like, is love enough, and can we have each other this time sort of vibes. But Across Eternity, let me just warn you, look up trigger warnings and stuff. It's literally like so dark. I was surprised, but it was the first 25%, and I was just like, oh, this is just like a whole nother realm of dark. So just warning before you go in, if you feel like you know her like vibes, that one was just out of the blue. It says here, the exciting conclusion to Across Time. Separated from Henry by 20 years, Emile discovers that what she thought was a weakness may be her greatest strength, and that nothing about her family and her gift is what it seemed. Now with war on the horizon and a challenge she never saw coming, Emile will learn what the prophecy really means for them, herself most of all. So yeah, there's prophecy you learned in the third book, and honestly, it's just all connected. A whole journey. They're away from each other by 20 years and trapped. And then it was just a huge mess. Honestly, the first three I enjoyed well enough. Definitely the first two more than the third, but like the fourth one, I felt like everything was topsy-turvy. Like the first 25% is super dark, and then the thing that happens later on, I was livid for over an hour. I texted my mom, I texted my friend Charlene, I ranted with my sister Nihai. I had to go to 3 different people to like let them know how badly, like how upset I was, and I'm still upset. And it was the first thing I thought about this morning, and I finished it last night before I went to bed. And like they're all pretty great, and like 4 quick reads. The writing I feel like has a nice flow to it, and I like how she writes about love, although I sometimes could say like it feels slightly codependent love, but they're soulmates, so you let it be a little bit okay. And he wants what's best for her and she wants what's best for him, so it's like healthy, a little codependent, but it's okay. I don't know how soulmates work. But the fourth book I could have done without. Like I had to know the conclusion, because I hate when my people are trapped. Like, you're my friend. If I'm reading you, it's like I'm friends with you. I can't leave you in this bad situation, but I also low-key kind of wish I didn't. Satisfied by some of the fun things, like how certain people got their names and the connections of people who we're like finding in the first 2 books, and like the prophecy, figuring it out. But it dealt with one of my least favorite tropes, and I still don't forgive it. 75% of this journey was quite fun. That last 25% was just, I was basically like rage reading the rest of that after the first 25%. And then I kind of got to a soft middle, but I still never was like happy with it. And like I said, don't expect like a happily ever after. Not in the way that you might expect. Take from that what you will. I don't want to give spoilers, but I wouldn't consider what happened a happy ending, but things aren't as bad as they seem. If you would like to read the series, things that might intrigue you, if you're thinking about it and you're on the fence, especially after like my rant about the fourth one, spoilers are coming, but not yet, then this is a good book if you want a little bit of magic, but it's based in the real world. I definitely resonated with how Quinn was and how she wants to start living her life. So like likable character, a little bit of magic without like fully having to worry about world building and stuff. They're quick. All of them are under 400 pages. They're on Kindle Unlimited and free if you have KU. I would say interesting, and they kept my attention. Like definitely bingeable reads. They're very bingeable reads. As for the fourth book, it just dealt with a lot of that I didn't like, and a lot of people still loved it. Like all of these books have really good ratings, and I don't think that that's unwarranted. I felt it was super fresh. Like that's what drew me in, and I still really enjoyed the idea of this world. As for the fourth book, the rest of this will be spoilers, so if you enjoyed this, thank you, and I hope that you will give it a try. And if you do give it a try, or if you've read it, let me know in the comments below. And I did enjoy 1 through 3. It's just the fourth one that clearly upset me, but I definitely don't like it. I'm sorry, but I don't want it to discourage you from reading it, because you might not be as kind of, not crazy, but I'm very hard on things that I don't like. So you might enjoy it and be fine with it and be like, oh, it's fine. Read it and enjoy it for yourself, okay? You make your own opinion. It's my opinion that the first 3 are, and that the last one is just not it for me. I would probably give that one 1.5 stars. And the other ones I just really like. I'm only good at rating things stars if they're bad, because I could come for like a list of reasons why it literally just didn't work for me. The spoiler part, welcome to spoilers. This will be all spoilers for my rant. First 2, I don't think I have huge ones. Oh, okay, first one, I thought it was really good. I was really irritated by that secret. I don't know if it came out in the first one or the second one, so we'll just combine the first 2 and then the last 2. I thought it was really irritating that like her big secret was what happened with Nick's twin, because like it still wasn't her fault in my opinion, and I don't know that like I would really blame myself for something that happened in another reality that wasn't even this one, to the point where I wouldn't tell him. It didn't feel like that big a reveal. And also the fact that he wasn't mad at all. I didn't want him to be mad. I didn't think it would be like justified, but at the same time, all of this weight's been on her for what? You know, second book, that ending literally made me so sad. The fact that, spoilers, that her mother is the one who's been doing this because she's tried in so many realities to make it to where like her daughter lives and is willing to literally die so that she could have her life with her kids. Can I also just say that this has to be like the glossiest breeding kink that there ever was, because like they do soulmates, but like the hunger that they have for each other, it's honestly like a need to mate at this point, and it's to have this prophecy come true, and it's all interconnected. I'm saying like it's pretty, but like this is very glossed up, and like it's not that spicy, but like this is very flowery breeding kink, honestly. As for 3 and 4, I hated Marie by the end. I just feel like she was really selfish, and even I know she lost those 2 kids, she was so selfish, and I feel like I would have changed what happened in 1918. I would have probably taken that away. And also I hated Henry. How are you gonna cheat on me the day you find out? The day you find out you think I'm dead. Everything she's been through, I just couldn't forgive it, and I couldn't get past it, and I don't care. I really don't. I don't care. And I understand that she got past it, but then she's sitting here raising someone else's kid with you. And I understand that that helped out other things in the other books, but it was just a lot. And then it's not really a happy ending because Henry dies. It's just a lot. It was a lot. And so many ups and downs and like literally plot holes, because all of a sudden we have a time traveler who's like got malicious intent, and we've never seen that before. Rule of 3s. And I sort of like Sarah, but at the same time, like even that thing, she did nothing to help a lot of big situations where I thought she would. Like even when she went to save Henry at like a random concentration camp, she didn't do anything to help other soldiers, just Henry. And same goes for when she was with those other time travelers who were all like being weirdly bred. Again, she's into breeding. She literally poisoned all of them, and I was like, is this just not weighing on her? Like it was weighing on her more that she took her spark from, like, you know, I just feel like I would help a lot more. I feel like who was super helpful? Marie was good at being minimally helpful. I really liked her in the beginning, but by the 4th book, I was just like, Marie, we're done. We're good. And I would like a book where it shows someone who's like on healthy terms with their gift and how it helps regularly, because they almost make it seem small, like they bring it up in both series, but like that this is meant to help people, you're meant to fix things. And both times we have an MC who doesn't want this gift, and only at the very end is like, I'll use it to help people, or in Emil's case, to help herself or to save her family and her man. And another thing I didn't like was, I don't like how they are so honed in on just their partners after they fall in love. There's nothing more important, like nothing. And it's just kind of weird to me. Like I get it, I've never been in love, so maybe that's how it is, but it seems a little too much. Like in the 1st book, friends want to hang out with her, and it's literally to surprise her with Nick proposing to her, and she's like, God, I miss him, and it had been an hour. And they kind of think stuff like that all the time, like, God, I miss them, and it'll be like 30 minutes. And usually it's before the pregnancy, which again, breeding, but it was still really cool. And Henry, everything that she went through. Anyway, rant over. I have to like pack this up, but I did want it to be recorded that it upset me internally. It bothered me so much, but there's so much about it that's good too. I just can't condone cheating. Like, not even that I can't condone it, it's just that he didn't have an excuse. If you know I'm a time traveler, if I don't care, I think that people should wait a while, especially if she meant this much to you. Let me tell you something, Henry, Nick would never. He wouldn't have done that to her ever. And Quinn was constantly insecure, like, oh, he'll forget about me because of my tumor. He would never. But like Henry, the day after, and I don't care that he was super drunk and she was like, he called her Sarah and she answered. He was like, she's not talking how she's supposed to, she's not doing this. He was lucid enough to make a baby. I feel like you could have been lucid enough to know it wasn't Sarah. The first short blonde woman you see. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. The rant is over, the video's over, that series is over. I mostly liked it. Believe it or not, I really did. I mostly liked it, and I would recommend the first 2 specifically, but the last 2, maybe. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, and wherever you are in this world, I hope you're having a wonderful day, evening, night, and life. I'll see you in the next video.